In this hour of Sentimental Journey, we'd like to bring you a radio portrait of a sweet-singing balladeer whose name is familiar to many thousands of people. He's Jack Speering, who's known throughout New South Wales for his countless personal appearances and his radio programs, heard on many different stations over a long period of years. Beyond New South Wales, his record albums have spread his name as a singer right across Australia. Last Monday, I travelled to the Newcastle suburb of Belmont to see Jack Speering and his wife Anne at their Lake Macquarie home. It was a clear, sunny day, and the sunlight danced on the deep blue waters right at the foot of Jack's property. But before we meet Jack Speering, let's listen to his voice.
After you've gone and left me crying, after you've gone, there's no denying you'll feel blue, you'll feel sad, you'll miss the bestest gal you've ever had. There'll come a time, now don't forget it, there'll come a time when you'll regret it. Oh, babe, think what you're doing, you know my love for you will drive me to ruin. After you're gone, after you're gone away. Charlie, my boy, oh Charlie, my boy, you thrill me, you chill me with shivers of joy. You've got the kind of sort of bit of a way that makes me, takes me, tell me what shall I say. And when we dance, I read in your glance all pages and ages of love and romance. They tell me Romeo was some lover too, but boy, he should have taken lessons from you. You seem to start where others get through. Oh, Charlie, my boy.
That song might very well have been a song that you've sung in the last few days, Jack, because you're still working, aren't you?
Yes, John, still working around here and there.
Not as consistently as you were once.
No, I was, one time I was almost working 8 nights a week, not 7 you might say. So I've broke it down now, what you call semi-retired, but I still like to do a bit, you know, to keep you occupied and keep your mind on what's going on about the place.
Yes. Looking back over a long career in music, we go back to the days when you were called the singing bus driver.
Yes.
And that takes us back a long time, and it also keeps us in the area that we are, because I'm talking to you in your home on the beautiful Lake Macquarie in Belmont, just south of Newcastle. And it was in this area that you were driving buses, right?
Yes, in Newcastle I was driving trams in Sydney. I got transferred to Sydney in 1934.
You would have driven quite a lot of different style trams too in that period.
I drove them all. Some the corridor trams and the old footboard trams, and there used to be some trams they called the jumping jacks.
Yes, yes, they were tiny and they really did jump on the tracks.
My word, they did. You couldn't sit down with them. You could jump up and down going along. Of course, I learned all my songs too going along.
Oh yes. Did you ever sing for the patrons? Sure.
Well, I don't remember that people used to say Newcastle. I did, but I don't think I wasn't singing out loud. They might have heard me a bit running through songs and that.
Yes, I don't think that you would have had much urge to sing. I mean, if you're driving a bus or a
Yes.
tram, you want to concentrate on what you're doing.
My word. Yes.
Did you come originally from the Newcastle area?
Yes, I was born in Hamilton, and Buchanan Street, Hamilton, near Hamilton Park.
When you were being brought up in Newcastle and the general area, did you come out of a musical family?
No, I don't think I did. I had lots of relatives lived in the country, and a lot of them played instruments by ear. But I don't know of anybody that was in the musical world.
No.
At all.
So it was a bit unusual that ultimately music became your career.
Yes, I was lucky that way. God's been good to me that way.
Yeah.
A lot of hard work in the early days, though. I sang at my first. I was only 8 years of age at my first school concert, and the songs I still remember the songs. He's a fat little fellow with his mammy's eyes, and I've got my eyes on you.
Well, two nicely contrasted songs, because Fat Little Fellow with His Mammy's Eyes is a kind of Paul Robeson type ballad, and I've Got My Eyes on You would have been a pop song of roughly of the period. It's out of sequence chronologically, but let's perhaps talk about repertoire. Do you add songs these days, or are you content with what the ones you already know?
Well, I've got a good library of songs. About 666 songs. So
that's a very mystical number, incidentally.
Yeah, well, I counted them there one day, and that's what it came out, 666 songs altogether. And they took some learning as the years go on, and they never... Funny thing, some songs I've learned years ago, you never seem to forget them.
No.
But, I know lots of me, when I was broadcasting there not lots of time, but now and again, and it was all direct in the early days. There was no tapes and that, and you'd be singing the song and your mind would go blank, and you'd have to put a line of, God give me those words back again, and eventually come back.
I don't want the pleasures this world has in store. Just one wish I treasure, to see you, mammy, mine once more. Oh, I miss your smile so gentle, and your tear-deep eyes that shine. For I really love you so, oh, the mammy, mine. In every line, just because you're part of me, oh, the mammy, mine. The things I did, since just a kid, you always saw me through. The silver hair that I put down is all forgiven. If I owned $1 million, it would not be worth a dime. Not without that love of yours, oh, the mammy, mine.
were talking about singing on radio, and that began a long time ago, and I think Harry Yates, the old Digger Show man, had something to do with that.
Yes, well, Harry Yates, dear old Harry, he was a nice fellow, Harry. I was with 2UE Digger Session for about 2.5 years, and I might mention once before, if you read about it, I gave a couple of auditions, and I just couldn't give an audition. I was hopeless. See one man sitting in the sound room and you in the studio all on your own, because Harry said that night about coming down for audition. "No, Harry," I said, "you're here tonight, I'm going to sing you tonight. If you think I'm good enough, well, you can book me there and then." So that's how it come to start with 2UE. He said, "Jack, you're on next Sunday." That was the Thursday night.
and you stayed with that show,
yes,
you said, quite a while.
Yes, I come back up here to Newcastle. Of course, I sang on practically every radio station in Sydney, including your station, the ABC.
We've got good taste sometimes.
at Jim Gussie.
Yeah.
Very nice man. Very nice fellow.
Gus.
My word, he was.
Still around, of course.
Is he? If you ever see him, give him my kind regards.
Yeah.
Nice fellow, Jim. I always sang in all sorts of community singing and different things around the various radio stations in Sydney. Before I came up here.
UE, SM, places like that.
Yeah,
yes.
2KY, 2UW. In fact, my first record I made was in the 2UW auditorium, and I sang "Walking My Baby Back Home." And
sometime before Johnny Ray got onto it.
I was unlucky. He made it come out the same time as mine. Of course, his record killed mine.
That's not fair.
No, he was right on top. Of course, he's an overseas artist. I seem to get all the boost about the place.
It's very true, Jack.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard to make a career of singing in Australia.
Yeah.
You did ultimately leave the transport department. It must have been a big decision for you.
Well, I've been lucky, John. I've had my wife. She's been a very, very wonderful backstop for me. She's helped me in every way. She's had some very lonely nights. And I was working as much as 7 nights a week and driving buses through the day. And in the time I got offered I was with the Empire Palais. I went there in 1947. I worked there for 4 years, and I got the offer if I'd like to come in as a partner, join as a partner, see. So anyhow, I come home and spoke to my wife, and I had to give one away. I was getting that run down, my muscles all start to tighten. And my wife said, "Well, you're not going to give your singing up." Well, I've got to give one away. Well, she said, "Not going to give your singing away." So she said, "Give the buses away. If the Palais goes broke, well, we'll get a job somewhere." So that made up my mind.
You never regretted giving up the buses for the singing?
Dear, no. I remember and I drove my last bus in the yard, and when I got out of the cabin, I looked in the cabin and I said, "Well, I hope to God never see you again."
Goodbye, Sydney town, goodbye. I'm leaving you today for a country far away. Though today I'm stony broke without a single brown. If I make a fortune, I'll come back and spend it in dear old Sydney town.
I'm not very familiar with the Newcastle scene. Where was the Empire Palais?
Well, you know what they call the Bank Corner? It's a landmark in Newcastle.
Yes, I've heard of the Bank Corner.
Well, just up about 200 yards up from the Bank Corner on the left-hand side, Empire Palais. Yes. And years ago, I believe it used to be a wool shed, ice works, a wool shed, and anyhow, a few chaps spent a lot of money years ago to make it a big dance hall, and only went for about a month or two, and they went broke on it.
Oh, dear.
So, anyhow, I had a very happy times there, but...
in your time, it would have been was a dance hall.
Oh, look, used to have... Tuesday night used to be jazz, Gordon Favell's big band. It was a 10-piece band. Used to get around 1,000 people. The old time on Wednesday night, we had a 10-piece band, and used to broadcast every Wednesday night, come over at 2HD, and we had a network of stations all around the place. They come over at 9:30, used to go to 11 o'clock, and that went for 12 years, that broadcast. And then, and Friday night, the old time, it'd be 1,500 Friday night, and the jazz Saturday night was 1,500 to 1,600.
Yes.
It was a wonderful sight. But especially the old time, to see 1,500 people doing the Pride over here, and they're all swaying the one way. It's beautiful.
Yes.
Lovely sight.
If you listen, I'll sing you a sweet little song of a flower that's not rich and dead, yet dearer to me as than all of its mates. Oh, each cold love, each proud hand was given to me by a girl that I know. Since I've met faith, I she's dearer by far than the world's brightest star, and I call her my wild Irish rose, my wild Irish rose, the sweetest flower that grows. You may search everywhere, but none can compare with my wild Irish rose, my wild Irish rose, the dearest flower that grows. And someday for my sake, she may let me take the bloom of my wild Irish rose. My wild Irish rose, the dearest flower that grows. And someday for my sake, she may let me take the bloom from my wild Irish rose.
And there, when I joined up in 1951, we went down to, we were only on 2SM for about three or 4 months, and my partner, Phil Furley, and he was announced at 2HD as well.
He was a famous
he was.
figure in Newcastle radio and also in New South Wales radio generally.
He was, yes. He came from England, but he was a very smart man. I always thought to Phil, well, Phil, he could speak in Indic. And I said to Phil, if you was in the House of Commons in England, if they said, Phil, get up and give a speech, he could too, is that right? Anyhow, we was on tour for about 3 months, and he said, I think we'll try to give it a spot in Sydney, Jack. If we started to do tours those days around the place, New South Wales, he said, I think we'll go out to Sydney, try our luck down there. I said, oh, Harry, said, we haven't been on the air long enough yet in Sydney. Oh, he said, we'll give it a go. I said, oh, well, okay. I said, if we lose, we'll lose.
But you then promoted a very big dance in the Sydney Town Hall.
Well, that was it. That was it. And there was 3,000 people there. Well, to be correct, there was 2,996 paid at the door and 50 complimentary tickets. The police shut the doors, wouldn't let no one out.
Because you were well overcrowded by then.
You can say that again. And one of our sponsors from Tamworth, Denny Kenny, a wonderful chap. He had a very big shop in Tamworth, and he used to sponsor the show through 2TM, so you have to take it. And not that I'm drunk, but I like to have a beer now and again, social drink.
Yeah, it's just a social drink.
But anyhow, before dinner's outside, the dozen bottles of cold beer. Couldn't get in. Up and down George Street. Anyhow, I eventually got him through the back door. But that was a wonderful show.
Well, that showed that people wanted to dance.
And we had about half a dozen shows in Sydney Town Hall. And, of course, we went to Lidcombe, we went to Parramatta, all over the different dance halls in Sydney for a good while. But we had some very successful nights going on tour.
Yes.
All the big country towns. I went to some wonderful shows and wonderful nights and wonderful times.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Gypsy Tap, set to the tune of one of the loveliest old melodies of all time, Yearning Just for You.
You were associated, Jack, and I'd like to take you back to this period, with a very famous dance hall that was in City Road near University.
The Surreyville.
The Surreyville, yeah.
I was there for 2.5 years, the Surreyville, Hal Carter's band.
Yeah.
Surreyville Ballroom, yes.
And that, I know from my reading and my own family experience, it boasted what was called a sprung floor.
That's true, too. There's only one floor that was like that. You could walk through the Surreyville Ballroom and you could feel yourself bouncing. Well, Maitland Town Hall was just the same. We played there every Thursday night, and you could feel that when you walk, you could feel the floor bouncing.
It was very special for dancing.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful dancing.
And a pretty glassy surface. In other words,
yes.
It had to be a reasonably good dancer. Otherwise, you could end up in a heap on the ground.
Oh, you have to be in step there. It's no good. It's not like rock and roll. Do what you like. You have to be in step to get around.
Yes, you've all got to be swaying the one way.
My word. But I met some wonderful friends.
You mentioned one of them just a minute ago, Hal Carter.
Yes, Hal. Well, I met Hal at... I went down to Surreyville Ballroom to sing with Hal Carter's band, and that was the starting of making records for Festival, which made for 20. That started for 23 years with Festival, and when we first started to record with Festival, they only had little studios, only held about a 6 or 7 piece band. We used to record with a 16-piece band. Mostly, we did a few small bands, but mostly the 16-piece band.
For 16-piece, that was a fairly big band in those days.
A lovely big band too. And
you'd see some changes from then till now with size of bands.
Oh my word! When you get a 16-piece behind you, playing every note, everything right. Well, how's a vocalist going to go wrong?
How indeed. I'm talking to Jack Speering about his life in Australian entertainment. Here's Jack again with the Hal Carter Orchestra.
Peaches and cream, give her two lips like roses and clover, then tell me that my lonesome nights are over. Sandman, I'm so alone, don't have nobody to call my own. Please bring on your magic beam, Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. I'm so alone, don't have nobody to call my own. Please bring on your magic beam, Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream.
Another experience that would have shown you a fair bit of the east coast of Australia was the period you spent with that touring troupe called Barton's Follies.
Yeah, well, I didn't go away and tour with them.
Oh, I see.
No, they were in Newcastle here for about 2.5 years. And I done the last 15 to 18 months with them.
Oh, I thought you were a backblocks man.
No, but they wanted me to go away. Roy Barton, the boss, he wanted me to go away with them. It was Bobby LeBrun and Gracie LeBrun. But Well, I had my wife and a little girl, 2 or 3 years of age. I didn't want to drag her around.
It's a hard life, touring.
Well, I entertainment, it's a funny game. You don't know how you're going to go with it. It's a big risk in life. You give everything up to go, and you tour around the country. I wasn't cut out for that. Not that sort of life. Anyway, I've toured the country with my dancers and that.
Yes,
but
you can do that in perhaps the inside of a week or a fortnight or something, and then come back.
That's right. And I knew everything was there. So we had the broadcasting station behind us.
Yes.
And you couldn't miss, which we didn't either. But I was with them for about 15 to 18 months. The last show, they broke up here, and then they went away on tour. But Bob Lebrani was a great friend of mine. I met some wonderful artists and that. And another great friend of mine was Jenny Howard.
Yes,
Jenny,
darling Jenny. Yes.
Yeah, Jenny Howard.
Still working, of course.
Yes. Oh, she's doing terrific too. She's 80 years of age, you know.
Yes.
Going like
a girl, a quarter of her age.
And Gracie Lebrun, she was a wonderful, that's Bobby's wife. She's a wonderful person. Hal Lashwood, I met Hal Lashwood different time. You know Hal Lashwood?
Yes, indeed.
And Roy Reen, I worked with Roy Reen towards the finish there. I was a guest artist in the Colgate Palmolive show. They come to Newcastle one night in the Newcastle Stadium. And Roy Reen and
one of the great comedians of the world, really, but confined his work to Australia.
That's right, yes. Well, about 25 years ago, I had the chance to go overseas, and a chap wanted to back me up. He had the Picture Theatre Manila out in Tamworth. He said, Jack, give it a go, and I'll back you up. And I said, I don't think so. I've dug myself in here, and I know some artists went overseas. And Gus Mersey.
Yes, I've done Gus.
Gus, a friend of mine. Well, Gus, he was glad to get back here, and I said, no, I've got me toes dug in here. I said, no, I don't go overseas.
Where I
Apart from Hal Carter's band, you've worked with a lot of other people. A lot of other people have provided backings for you.
Oh, yes. Oh, gee, yes. Especially in Newcastle, I've made a chap named Norman Trays, beautiful pianist and beautiful organist. He had a very big job in Newcastle, but he just had a sideline playing the organ and the piano. And I'd done a few records with him on just the organ.
He was more than just a musician in your life, though, wasn't he?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
I mean, you knew him from when you were boys.
I went to school with him, Norm. Yes, he used to play the kettle drum those days. I went to school.
Were you ever in the school band? Did they have a band?
No. His father was a bandmaster, Waratah band, and Norm played the cornet in those days. And even the old... Remember, Norm, he'd only be a kid about 14-year-old playing the drums in the pictures, and Simon playing in the pictures. I'm going back a long way now.
Well, yes.
But he was brought up a musician.
Maxwell can praise our Bonnie where early twas the view, and 'twas there that Annie Laurie did me her promise true. Did me her promise true, with me for God will be, and for Bonnie Annie Laurie I'd lay me down and eat. Her brow is like the snowdrift, her throat is like the swan, and her face it is the fairest that e'er the sun shone on. That e'er the sun shone on, and dark blue is her ear, for Bonnie Annie Laurie I'd lay me
Up on your wall, you have something that I think is pretty rare in a Australian musician's household, and that's a gold record. Tell us something about that.
Well, first of all, I'd been with them for about 20 years, I think, when I got that. And I signed a new contract for 5 years. And our record never got the top of the charts. because you don't get the publicity with old time like you do with the modern records. But it was always been a steady seller, you know. And anyhow, they gave me this record for this new contract I signed for 5 years. And I said to Noel Brown and Alan Healy, the manager, they both signed the contract. I said, for 5 years, how much longer do you expect me to go on? They said, well, while your records sell, Jack, we'll sign you on.
And when we get where no one else can see, be my little baby bumblebee. We'll be just as happy as can be. Honey, keep a buzzer, please. I've got a dozen cuddle bees, but I want you to be my baby bumblebee. But I want you to be my baby bumblebee.
Jack, one of my favourite records of yours contains a lot of wartime songs of First World War and I think Second World War as well, plus some Australian songs of that period too. You remember making that one?
Yes, John, that was made about 15 or 16 years ago. It's a funny thing about that. I put the radio on the TV on one day just to watch the march, and I thought I know that voice. And there was a track. They played a couple of tracks of that record from the ABC just the start of the
during an Anzac Day march.
Yes, yeah. And they'd done it for about 3 years running. Yeah, I got quite a thrill out of that.
Yeah. So you added ABC television to the link that you've been
my
on.
word. I was very pleased with that.
home and beauty have no cause to fear. Should old acquaintance be forgot? No, 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 no. Australia will be there. Australia will be there. Australia will be there. Australia will be there.
Jack, you spent your working life, most of it when you weren't on the trams or buses, singing for other people's entertainment. What about the sort of singers who entertain you? Who do you like?
Well, I like Perry Como. I like his style of singing. I like it very much. And I also, these are my favourites I like. Al Martino. I like Al Martino's songs. He always picks songs that people like. And also Harry Seagam, great singer.
You mentioned earlier on to me, before we started recording, Des O'Connor.
Oh, Des O'Connor, yes. He's very entertaining, Des. He picks songs that people like too.
That's the secret, isn't it? Picking songs that people like.
People like. It's no good if you're getting up there going to sing a song that you like, but people don't like, which lots of artists do that. They'll get a song because they like it. They'll sing it, but they don't think about the public. The public don't like it, but they'll sing it just the same.
Most of those singers that you really do like, Jack, are basically ballad singers.
Yes.
And yet there was a period very early in your singing career when you had a strong feeling for jazz singing, didn't you?
Yeah, well, in the early days, I come out of the jazz band to sing old time, but those days, they were good jazz bands, and they played nice numbers. I don't know, the jazz and rock and roll is altogether different
these days. Yes.
And when I came out of, when I went to sing old time, the musicians said to me, different ones, "God, what are you going to go and sing old time for? That'll do you no good." Well, I said, "I don't know. I think there's an opening there somewhere," which I'm glad I did do. I left jazz to go sing old time. I can't growl about it.
You called me baby doll a year ago. You told me I was very nice to know. I soon learned what love was, I thought I knew. But all I've learned has only taught me how to love you. You made me think you loved me in return. Don't tell me you were fooling after all. For if you turn away, you'll be sorry someday. You left behind a broken down. There was I waiting at the church, waiting at the church, waiting at the church, when I found he left me in the lurch. Look how it did upset me, da-dum. All at once I got a little note. Here's the very note, and this is what he wrote. Can't get away to marry you today. My wife won't let me. Oh, you beautiful doll, you great big beautiful doll. Let me put my arms about you. I could never live without you. Oh, you beautiful doll, you great big beautiful doll. If you ever leave me, how my heart will ache. I want to hug you, but I fear it break. Oh, 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 you beautiful doll. Oh, you beautiful doll, you great big beautiful doll. Let me put my arms about you. I could never live without you. Oh, you beautiful doll, you great big beautiful doll. If you ever leave me, how my heart will ache. I want to hug you, but I fear you'd break. Oh, 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 you beautiful doll.
Nowadays, Jack, you seem to me to have the best of all worlds, don't you? Because you have a beautiful home here on Lake Macquarie. You work when you want to.
Yes.
Is there anything lacking in your life?
Yes, paying too much tax, that's the only... How's that one, John? No, I can't.
I think you'll find a few friends who would agree with you there.
No, I can't, Grant. As I said before, I've had a very happy life. I hope I live a good bit longer yet. I've had a wonderful marriage life, had a wonderful wife who's been behind me right through it. And I've got a lovely daughter, and 2 lovely grandchildren. I've got a very, very good son-in-law, so I can't growl.
I think you're a lucky man.
My word, I am. My word.
Bless you. I hope you've liked the hour we've spent with Jack Speering as much as I have. Here's one last song from Jack.
About the hometown band that makes you want to shout. There's something about the hometown band that brings the neighbors out. Your sister may be the majorette, leads them down the street. Ta-ra-da-da-boom, ta-ra-da-da goes your hop with your marching feet. Wherever you live throughout the land, there's something about a hometown band. Ta-ra-da-da goes your hop with your marching feet. Wherever